Okay, so let's start. Let me go over the intro. So, the Shiraz University Digital Humanities Student Association is hosting this meeting. Swanke Degunka has kindly accepted our invitation to join us today, and we are honored to have her here. Ms. Degunka, thank you. And I'm Merzad Barzagar, the head of the Digital Humanities Student Association of Shiraz University, and also the moderator of this event. I'm delighted to welcome our guests. She received her advanced master's degree from Humboldt University of Berlin in Library and Information Science after studying museology. Currently, Svante Degunka lectures at Thuringen University and the State Library of Vienna on digital humanities, history, folklore, and ethnology. She has been the scientific associate of the Digital Humanities project named Women Writers from the Wageningen Collection at Bauhaus University of Weimar, in which the cultural and political life of Europe in the period between 1800 and 1860 is reflected in many facets of the corpus of the mentioned project. She also been involved as a specialist in several digital research infrastructure team projects that aim to build a virtual research space for humanities and cultural studies. The title of today's talk is Digital Humanities, Getting Started. After the talk, Svante agreed to answer some questions from the audience. So let's start. The virtual stage is yours. Thank you.
Thank you for the introduction. And yes, my name pronunciation was really good. I don't know how you did that. It's like Gunther, but if you have any problems, you can call me Sam in international context. I'm just saying it's Sam. It's okay. So thank you. I come from the field of media studies or museology, and afterwards I studied library information science, as you mentioned. And now I'm working in a library as a subject librarian and part of history and ethnology. I'm also doing research in digital humanities at our university library. And my main focus is building digital research infrastructure for digital humanities projects. And also, I do a bit of consulting for smaller DH projects in this region in Germany. We are we are state university library, and for the region Thuringia, which is in the center of Germany. And for this region, we are responsible for those smaller DH projects, which you need sometimes just a little help, or they don't know which tool they can use, or they are searching for better data, or they have to harmonize data from different institutions and databases. And therefore, I'm just helping them to get started. And I'm also participating in a really grand project in Germany. It's called NFDE, which is the abbreviation for Nationale Forschungsdateninfrastruktur. It's just a national-wide project for research data infrastructure and to build like a national data research data infrastructure for different disciplines. And I'm working in the group which helps to build this infrastructure for text data in the humanities. So more or less, it's scholarly digital edition. I'm going to start my presentation now. Hope
It's such a prolific.
I'm sorry. Could you say that again? So I didn't get the last part.
I'm sorry, I got disconnected. I wanted to mention that would you please raise the volume of the microphone a little bit? I guess some participants can hardly hear you. Yes, thank you. Great.
Oh. Is this too loud or is it okay that way?
Yes, that's perfect. Thank you.
Mute. Close that. Look. So I'm gonna share my screen, and I have some problems seeing you now, but okay, now I've solved it. Okay. So let's just start. Um,
I like turn my webcam off so that there's no connection problem.
So
Yes.
see you soon after a
Okay.
small introduction. Okay, so we had the welcome part. You gave a really good introduction, and I want to say something about. I said already something about my current project, and the first step is that we are going to do today is we're going to collect some data, and we're going to use this data later. Um, it's for our data visualization and in step 6. And also, perhaps you have already heard and you're already familiar with the term digital humanities and some theory and history, but I'm going to show some project ideas which are quite useful to understand what are we doing in this like discipline digital humanities. And also in step 4, we're going to get started and explore some tools, two tools, and maybe you have used the other tools already. And we're going to start with 2 small tools. And I'm going to show some other DH project from various disciplines. And at the end, we're going to make a small data visualization from our input data. And we're going to talk and show you something about Wikidata. So as a first step, I want you to, I'm going to stop this because I have to. So I'm going to post the link in the chat. And there are just some questions. Just going to fill out on this form. I hope you all you can see. You all can see this this form, and you're gonna just fill in your data and submit your data. I'll give you 2 minutes and fill in the data. Okay, so I'm going to continue. And therefore, I just want to ask you something. Maybe you can just put yes or no in the chat for the first questions, which is, I think, quite clear because you have like the student organization and have you heard of the term digital humanities before this session? So I think all of you heard this term determinant just before because you joined the session and you wouldn't join a session where you say, okay, I don't know what the TED is saying. I think you all have heard the term. Do you have the impression that the term is mentioned more often than 5 years ago? So question 2, do you think it's increasing? Like everybody's talking about the humanities in your field or at your university. Do you think it's mentioned more often than 5 years ago? Haggerty said, yeah, I think I have the same impression. So we started typing and just kind of wait. Yes, with a question mark. Um, okay, so question number 3. Do you think that in like a couple of years, in 2035, do you think it will not be possible to complete a humanities degree without content from the field of digital humanities? What do you think about question 3? You agree with this statement? Yes. Ila Ibrahimi says yes. Yeah. Oh, someone is writing in German. Stimmt. So fully agree. Thank you, DY, for typing it in German. You fully agree that in 2035, it's not possible to complete a humanities degree without content from the field of the nowadays digital humanities. So I'm moving on. To a definition of digital humanities. And I think the last years at the big digital humanities conferences, we were talking about who are we and how could you define the digital humanities. And there's a really nice project, the whatisdigitalhumanities.com. There you can just submit your definition of the field and you can search for other definitions and say, okay, are there similarities or are there new aspects that I haven't seen in this field? Or it's a nice way. It's a nice starter to work in projects to say, okay, let's just define it and then we can move on. And I have this from a colleague, Danuta Sierhus. Digital humanities is the intersection of digital technologies and the humanities. I can fully agree to that. And it's a field that creates new forms of digital research and scholarly output. Yes, I agree as well. And it's a field of study that examines the impact of digital technologies on art, cultural heritage, and memory institutions. And I really like this third part because I come from the museum studies and worked in the digital fields of in museums, and I created databases. And yeah, it's. I think for me that's a really important part, that we are not only talking about text and text-based infrastructure and text-based research. It's also about our cultural heritage. Maybe you have heard the story, or I want to say the legend of the digital humanities, uh, building the Index Thomisticus. This was a task for Robert Busa. He was a priest in Italy, and he had like this this project that he wanted to build an index or a list of all the words in Thomas of Aquinas' works. And he said, okay, approximately that's going to take like 30 years. And he started in the late 40s. He started in 1949. And he started with punch cards. And then because he got to know the one of the co-funders of IBM, and he talked about this project. Okay, we are going to write like index cards, and he said, okay, maybe you could do it in a more technical way. And they helped him, and his goal was to have like 13 million punch cards for each word of punch card, and that would weigh like 500 tons. And they had this cooperation with IBM, and they helped them to build the system on magnetic bands. And those magnetic bands at the end had like a total length of 1,500 kilometers, just those magnetic bands. And they also, they had a print version of its work. It contained 56 volumes and 65,000 pages. So they also published a CD-ROM. So many of us used CD-ROMs. I don't know if you use CD-ROMs in your everyday life. And they published this in the late 80s, and they also had a compressed version in 1992. And it was like, for this time, it was a project with over 1 gigabyte data, which was in the 90s like really a big project. So what did they build after that? They built a database, an online database, which from the design you can also can see, okay, it comes from the punch card, and sometimes you can see this in the database design as well. If you type in search term like Manus, the word Manus, and you search it in as a term, then you get like it's dilemma 49303. And this is like the punch card or the index card that was designed, and you can see also in the result that they came from this area or from this point. Okay, back to our presentation. To answer this question, okay, is digital humanities? We ask ourselves. We ask in the group, and all of us said, okay, yeah, it's a term I already heard before, and it's getting more and more important because everyone's mentioning it. And also searched the word frequencies of digital humanities in English and German Google Books. And there you can see, okay, we have like it started in the 2000s, and like the real start came in 2010, I think. And it became a real trend. And we have a similar pattern. It's not the same pattern, but a similar pattern in German newspaper, the DWDS. It's a platform where you can search German newspapers, and we can see, okay, the term started, and yeah, it's quite a trend. Maybe it's not that popular anymore, but it's something else. If you have it in newspapers, it's something else than you have it Google Books. But it's a similar pattern. And if you can see those graphs, you may think, okay, particularly in Germany, digital humanities must be like really huge. It must be a huge topic. And I'm a scholar from the digital humanities. I would agree, yes, it's a huge topic in my life. But if you can see in Germany, we have like, it's still defined as a small discipline, because the criteria for small disciplines, research disciplines in Germany is like you have, if you have more than one chair at one university, so how many professors do we have like at one city? And we have like 40 professors of digital humanities in Germany, but they are all at different universities. We don't have like this huge centers where there are many chairs which with the topic digital humanities. It's like we have it at universities, and we have it nationwide at universities, but it's not that huge. It's still a small discipline. Yeah. If you see it in a global perspective, I have some older data. It's from 2014, the publications in the field of digital humanities. And as you can see in 2014, the geographical distribution, it's really, there are some centers, like we have the US part and Canada, and we have like a center in Europe, and also in Russia, there was in 2014, there were some scholars in St. Petersburg. And I don't think that it has really changed, but maybe you can still, I think you can still see like in the maps, if you take the data from nowadays, that those publications are more or less in the North American part and the European part. So maybe it's not like this global trend that we are all seeing it. And also our colleague Edward van Houte, we searched for digital humanities centers in the world, and as you can see, all these bubbles are in Europe and in North America. So that comes, I think, that shows some limitations if you talk about digital humanities in a global perspective. And you have to have a critical perspective on the digital humanities as a global field of research, because there are some limitations. Let me say that most of the early projects were text-based, like this index Mysticus. It was a real text-based project because like the early information technology really needed input data, which was machine readable, and it's easier for text projects to build data sets. And those text-based research focuses mostly on Latin characters, and they started to use databases, and they built tools to analyze the data. And those tools, they could, and most of them can today only process these characters, like Latin characters, or they can do it first. So they have yes, they started earlier, and so on. So like this fixation on text-based Latin characters leads to that the fact that there are some tools for Arabic letters, but most of them are just for Latin characters, and like it's the Eurocentric view of digital humanities. And also, if we are working with digitized cultural assets, you have to ask yourself, okay, which collections have already been digitized? And most of them, like in the museum perspective, you have like those big museums in Europe and in North America have like the whole collection digitized. And like if you are familiar with museum history, you see, okay, those collections, they were built like with biases. They are full of colonial views, and those biases, we carry those with us if we work with this digital cultural heritage, because like it's sometimes the collection idea and the world view of the 1900s or of the early 20th century, but it's not our view of the world today. And also we have like a dominance of Anglophone stakeholders, and this leads to like representation in international organizations like international DH organizations. There we have a huge group of Anglophone stakeholders. We have some French speakers and some German speakers, and they are all okay with like speaking English as a lingua franca in the field, which is okay. But if you see, it's way more difficult if you're not a native speaker to represent the DH in international organizations. And also you have to ask yourself, is there really the global access to research publications in the field? And therefore I ask myself and I ask my colleagues, and how can we make our results available to others who don't live in the global north, and whose universities, our universities, they pay publishers millions to get access to, like, let's say, put it that way, to our own research publications. And if you're like a scholar from a West African country, you won't have access to those publications because your university won't pay those millions to get access to these publications. So therefore, I think that if you would see digital humanities as a global field, you have to be part of the open science and open access community to publish your data. And also sometimes I see, maybe you have already contact with other DH projects. Sometimes we have a really naive mindset towards our data. And sometimes we have to see, okay, which basic attitudes and what biases were used and are included in this data to generate this data, but also to clean this data or to process or analyze this data. So there are certain limitations, and also these text-based limitations. Here you can see papers within digital humanities journals, and most of them are about linguistic and literature, because like it's easy to get those data, to have like a machine processable data from those fields. And we don't have many outputs from like other fields like film or music, which are like a huge part of the humanities. But if we come to the digital humanities, then we have like linguistic and literature and some history. Therefore, if you want to get started with digital humanities or you already started, I think it's quite useful to have a model to better understand the digital humanities. And this is the model of Patrick Sahle, a colleague of mine. And he said, okay, we have like at the center, we have a digital core that exists independently of the subject of the other disciplines. And the boundaries between this subject or these disciplines are really disappearing if you come to the center. And at the edges, we still have those clear colors and discipline structures. And this model explains some phenomena you may find in the digital humanities, like the more digital we work, like you're getting in the center of this model, and the more digital we work and research, the more interdisciplinary our projects become. And I'm going to say myself, at major digital humanities conferences, you will discuss common topics with colleagues, such as like digital long-term preservation for our data or building research infrastructure. And after this conversation, you won't be able to tell which discipline the other person came from. So we have something in common in our tent, like of digital humanities, if we are really going to the core digital humanities. And also, sometimes it helps me about when I'm in the, when I do my task in talking to digital humanities projects and scholars who are starting, or like professors here from the Department of History who have never done anything digital in their research and they are starting. And sometimes it's not that easy to to find common language and so on. And also it sometimes helps me to understand, okay, not all researchers in the humanities are now working digitally, and some of them, they're going to stay that way. We have room for those interested in integrating only a few digital aspects into their research. Sometimes I'm really thankful that they are quite thinking about getting like a more digital perspective on their work. And there will always be the margins of non-digital research. And they do not jeopardize the core. It's okay. We all can like live in this digital humanities tent, and I think therefore the model explains some of the phenomena we may find. If you start now, there are at least two ways to approach the topic digital humanities. Way one would be to start in the center. You're young, you're a student, you have heard about the topic, and you want to immerse yourself in the digital core because you want to like get started in the real core. But I would caution against that. It can be a really frustrating step, a really frustrating way, because without the domain knowledge of a discipline, you won't understand some research questions, or you won't comprehend the methodology. Why are they doing it that way? You also won't be able to develop your own questions if you don't have a real interest in your content. And so the path two is way more recommended. You approach from a familiar field and become more and more digital. But be careful, don't become this person who's going to tell everyone, I do what do you, but it's better because it's digital. So be patient with others, and they are also on the path too, and they are started like at the edge, and they are not in the core. Maybe they are not interested in like really working digital. Don't become an arrogant scholar. Okay. So I'm gonna post two links, and I'm gonna those are two tools, and they're working with text because it's also an easy way to start. And I want you to pick one of the tools and try to find out what can you do with this tool. Could it be useful for your work? What kind of data is needed to start and analyze and analyze, and how is it processed? Maybe you can tell. Maybe it's like a really black box. And also, is there anything you could say about the data quality that you put in, or could you use your own text data? So we're gonna take like 10 minutes, and perhaps some of you already knew this those tools. Well, that just stop the sharing. I'm gonna post into you. And I'm also gonna post this questions. So just take your time, take one of those tools and test. Oh, thank you for putting it in the notes, which is way more easy. Yeah, thank you. I don't know who is doing it. I think it's Mahad. So we're gonna have 10 minutes from now. I don't know in which time zone you are. So I'm gonna pause for 10 minutes. See you then.
Okay, so Swante, can I recapitulate what you said in the last part of your lecture so that our other audiences can understand what's going on? Okay, great. So let me do it in Farsi, okay, and then I will do it in English as well. خب، دوستان قرار از این دوتا ابزاری که برامون در اختیار گذاشتن، گوگل انگرام و واین، یکیشو استفاده کنیم که به این سوالایی که اینجا گذاشته شده جواب بدیم. مثلا ابزارا میتونن چه کاری انجام بدن؟ آیا مثلا به کاری که ما میخوایم انجام بدیم، اون سوالی که اول انجام بدیم، ریسرچ اینترستمون چیه، میشه باش پاسخ داد، چه نوع داده لازم داریم، یا مثلا میتونیم از تکست خودمون استفاده کنیم. تفاوت واینت با گوگل انگرام چی میتونه باشه این از نسبت به سال آخر، و اینکه بتونیم یعنی جواب اینا رو بنویسیم و بعد بخوایم به کسایی داوطلب میشن که بتونن جواب خودشون ارائه بدن. Yeah. I guess like after this exercise, some participants will be volunteer to present their answers, right? Yes. Okay, got it.
Yeah, I guess so.
Thank you again. I've given microphone rights for participants. If anyone wants to present their answers, they can raise their hands and I will let them do as. Yes, okay, so we have Mandana. Yes, there we go. Is it like the time's off? Is it finished? Okay, yes, let me. Why not?
Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, very nice. First of all, it's nice to meet you all here. Actually, based on my experience regarding the Voyant, I should say that it's very good actually tool for each and all languages, according to me, since I have just tried it for Bengali and also Persian as well as Turkish and English ones. It was good, totally just only for getting the frequencies, collocations, and etc. It indicates very easily the diagrams or what should I say, the most frequent ones that they are used in the context. But the most important thing is that it doesn't provide what should I say, the descriptive data. That how, okay, this frequency is much. Okay, what does it mean? It's again up to us to just reinterpret it. It's again up to us, again up to researcher that he or she is going to tell that, okay, this amount of frequency indicates this, and this amount of, for instance, this frequency indicates this. So it is good. I think that it is useful, the approach actually, and it's useful tool for us, for each and every students like us or teachers. But again, I say that it has some, for instance, regarding, I can say regarding mapping. Mapping, I had some issues with that regarding the data mapping. So I used VOS, viewer for data mapping, and I didn't use Voyant. Again, I would like to hear the experience of others. Maybe they have tried it. Maybe they have other sort of experiences in this case. And again, thank you so much for listening. And regarding your questions, I think yes, I had I up and down. I just answered them. If there is any questions, I would like to reply also based
Thank
on my
you.
experience.
Yes, thank you. I didn't get your
Most
name. Could you
welcome.
please repeat your name?
My name is
Thank you,
Mandana.
Mandana. That was really good. And maybe some others want to share their experience with the tool.
Exactly, of course. We are willing to
Yeah,
hear
thank
their
you,
experience
Mandana.
as well.
There's like
Yes.
my voice has to come key. Yeah. So this is Armita here, and I'm actually a part of this association. And I have a question for you. There's like this question is not related at all, but I just wanted to know that do you have like the are you a part of social media? Because I I wanted to have like your Instagram account or something because I wanted to yeah. Sorry, it wasn't related at all. Sorry, Mandana, for interrupting your question. Uh-huh. Formerly known as Twitter. Okay. Thank you very much. And I haven't used Voyant um, at all, but I really want to know how to use it. So I would be glad to hear others if they have used it, or I'm going to use it right now. And yeah, if the time is not finished, yeah, thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much in advance for this for this session. I'm I'm actually really enjoying it right now. Just
Yeah.
it's perfect, by the way.
Thank you for your really easy question. I was actually a bit shocked that there's a question, but yeah, that was easy to answer. Just connect me on Twitter or X. So maybe some of you are gonna use those tools afterwards, or I'm gonna have a look at this. Yeah, it. I think if you see like those Voyant tools, you can use it in different with text data from different languages and so on. You may see, okay, if you don't have a real question, or if you don't have anything to do with linguistics, the results can be like quite entertaining, but you have like a fancy word clouds, but maybe it's not that, if you don't have a question, you don't know how to interpret this data, it's not useful at all. So you have to have like this domain knowledge or this discipline knowledge to really use those data tools. And also maybe you use the Google Ngram viewer, and therefore you can say nothing about the data quality. It's just using like the corpus of Google Books, and we don't know the accuracy of the text recognition. We don't know anything about it. We don't know how many books are in like the English corpus or in the German corpus. But sometimes it's just if you want to know, okay, when did this term came up, or when was this discussed in Google Books? But it's a real broad view, and you just can use it as like, okay, perhaps you get a little bit of a glance of an information, but it's not really a useful tool to analyze text. And you can't put your own data in. It's just those Google Books results. And in Germany, we had like those really big projects. They came to the Munich State Library, and they helped to digitize the books, but the recognition rate was not really that good. But maybe for some topics, the Google Ngram viewer works fine. So, but if you're interested in the Voyant tools, just use it afterwards. It's quite nice. So I'm gonna like talk about some projects from various fields. And first of all, I just thought about, okay, it's also the first projects I'm going to present, or the first aspects are like really from text-based, and maybe you're familiar with it. It's like text-based topics like full text, like OCR and RSC. And I'm going to talk about text and semantics, and also about named entity recognition, and some norm data, and perhaps something about distant reading and topic modeling. But it's just like a first step in the digital humanities for some of you or some of us. So it's like a broad overview. If you are interested in optical character recognition, some useful open source tool for printed text, it's Tesseract. I really can recommend this software. And for handwritten text, maybe you have heard of it. It's Transcribos, and up to 500 pages are free. And then you have to use another email address to get the next 500 pages, or you can like have a plan that you're gonna pay for like the next 20,000 pages for handwritten character recognition. For like the history of optical character recognition it's quite easy. It's like first step is to build a binary image out of the digital image. As you can see the journal Asiatisches Magazin, and they built a binary image just to tell the machine, okay, this point is white and this point is black, and therefore you don't have these gray areas, and it's easier to detect the characters. And the next way, we have also like the layout analysis. This is German text, so we start in the upper left corner, and then you go from left to right and paragraph to paragraph, and you have to tell the machine, okay, in which way the text is written. And this, I point out to, this is just a small layout analysis, and afterwards we take like this one letter, an E, but it's not that we have like in the character classification that we can see it. We can say certain it's it's an E, we just can say it has the highest match point to point of an E in this typo. So it could also be like maybe the next thing close enough would be a C or something else, but the highest match is the E. So it's most certainty is it's an E. And that is like those 3 steps are just OCR. It's used for over 20 years and it's quite easy. And we have open source tools like Tesseract. If you want to try it out, you just can set it up and just put data in like PDFs, and then you have like the full text, searchable full text. And also another useful tool is Transcribos, as I already mentioned. And if you see, okay, I have these 3 steps of OCR, maybe I could do it with handwritten text as well. But with handwritten text, you have some complications, and we have like all of us can see in their personal experience, there are possible reasons for different handwriting, like time. I don't know if it's in Persian handwriting, if there's a shift. I just can say it about German handwriting that we have like in medieval times, we have other handwriting style, and it's it's evolving, and some letters are invented, and some other letters are not, or some abbreviations are used, and it's really time strain. So, but we also have individual reasons for different handwriting, like educational reasons. Where did you learn to write? In German, we have some regions who had other plans in the primary schools, and they had like small difference in the handwriting and in the education, and also in the age. My handwriting as a 10-year-old was another handwriting like I have now, and also the material I'm writing on is also different, and also the purpose. Is it like an official document? Or is it just a shopping list? Is it just for me as I'm writing my own notes, so I can really, my own notes are not that readable for other persons? Or am I writing like a letter to, am I writing a love letter? I would say, okay, then I have to write in my best handwriting. And also the target group of my document, this is also a reason for a different handwriting. If I'm going to write like for a great audience, I have to write in a really proper way. Or if I just write for myself or a small group, maybe in my diary, and then I'm going to use another handwriting style. So there are those different handwriting styles, and therefore you can't see just, okay, just build a binary image, and then we have a collection of characters, and then we just look which the highest match. It doesn't work that way. And also it's in German handwriting, it's not that easy like to diminish, okay, this letter starts here, this letter ends here, if you don't have those white spaces between those letters in handwriting. So we have they have like Transcribos, and it use AI to build models. And the first step is like you just use an existing model, and you have the first pages transcribed with these existing models. And it's clear that the result will not be perfect, because it's like this OCR approach. It has us a big library of written letters, and it's just searching for the highest match. But it also uses like dictionaries. So it's not like character per character. It's searches, okay, which is really a word, and therefore sometimes it just corrects your text. But sometimes it's like overcorrecting. So you have to have the first pages transcribed by an existing model. And step 2 is to create your own model by correcting this output and using your model for the next pages, and your correcting, and the model will be better. And the last pages, like you have like a really good detection rate. And you have to perform like iterations of these corrections. And then you can see like this, I think it's from a project who started and they corrected those first pages, made an old model, and they say, okay, it's not the perfect text, but it's better than transcribing it by hand. But there are some limitations, and I'm showing you a card written by Winston Churchill, and this is an untrained model. It's just the first attempt. As you can see, okay, the printed text Downing Street, and which is perfect, yeah, detected every letter right. But in the text, you can see, okay, they are IMCP, so it's really really good detection rate. So why is this result disappointing? As we can see, the result it has not a high matching rate, and it's also like we have a really small text. Those are just a few lines. It's not. We have just used a really broad model, so it just detects some of the letters. And if you have like now your research project that you have 1,000 pages of Winston Churchill, and then you're gonna have to train like 10 pages, 20 pages, and you're getting better and better and better. But if your research project is like a collection of 1,000 pages from really different persons, and some of them are long text and some of them are short text, then you train a model, but you can't say that it's really, you can't expect that you have a perfect detection rate. And the next step I want to talk about is, maybe you have heard about TI and the XML schema for digital scholarly editions. Maybe you've heard about this, but our first tools like Voyant tools and Ngram, they showed us that for some of our questions, we need more than the full text. Maybe it's like resolving abbreviations, or it's a disambiguation, it's adding semantics to a text. And also, we would need metadata. So who received like Churchill's thank you letter, and when we're gonna have to have context, what gift did he receive? And therefore, it's not only the full text that would be useful, it's also that if you have this project, you're gonna build a digital scholarly edition. And therefore, you have to create a machine readable text with semantics. And therefore, we are using XML TI. I have for my old project that was mentioned first was like female writers in the collection Farnhagen. And here we have a female writer, Helma von Chesy, and she writes a letter to Karl von Kügelgen. And if you can see this, this digital scholarly edition, we have like one is the data from the database, it's the metadata from the letter. And two, we have the digital copy from the repository. It's displayed via the IIIF viewer. And three, we have like the edited text. It's a transcribed text. And four, we have a commentary, because like the small part in the upper left corner was not written by Helmina von Chesy. It was written by Farnhagen, who was like was the owner of the collection of those letters. And he just wrote a note, okay, this is the letter, Helma von Chesy, and Karl von Kügelgen, to Karl von Kügelgen. And just for this small note, that this small part of the text is not written by Helmina von Chesy, but by Farnhagen, we're gonna have to transform it in a machine-readable text. And I'm just gonna show you this small fraction, like this blue part of the letter. It's just, if I write it in XML TI, it's a machine-readable version. I say, okay, here's a handshake. And the new person who's writing is the person 56 of our collection. It's this person Farnhagen. And he writes the name of a person. It's the person 48 in our project. It's Helmina von Chesy. And you start the element person name. You have like an attribute reference tool, and you have like the value of this attribute it's P 48, and therefore you just to put out to create this small commentary on this small fraction, you have to like really put it in elements and attributes, and those attributes have values. And you have like the small note von Hagen's hand, which is shown in part 4. If you're interested in digital scholarly editing or editions, there are some links. I'm going to send the presentation afterwards to Method, and he can show you, he can send it to you. And if you are interested in more about encoding text in XML and TEI, there's a really good tutorial. It's from our colleagues Marjorie Burkhardt and Elena Pirazzo. And if you want to publish a digital edition, there's also a tutorial of Wolfgang Meyer. It's during the pandemic, they had a really good online course, and it's called Stay Home and Learn TEI Publisher from Scratch. Maybe you're interested in that. And the next topic will be, I think most of you are familiar with it, it's named entity recognition. For some of my projects, that's a new topic. It's like if you have a text and you put it in a tool, and it shows you, okay, which part of this text is a person, or is like an event, or is an organization, or is a date. That helps if you want to do a digital scholarly edition. Sometimes it's a good step that you're going to use like an existing tool for named entity recognition in your text. Because of time, you have this link, you can try it yourself. And some of you may have like better options, like have used the Stanford entity recognizer or something else. But this is a tool for beginners if you just want to try it out. And also the next topic is about norm data. So the first, this named entity recognition is just to detect, okay, this is a person. This text string means a person, some person. We don't know which person. And for a text here, it's the text from Edward Munch. Oh no, it's a text from Elisabeth Foster Nietzsche. She was the sister of the famous philosopher Nietzsche, Friedrich Nietzsche. Elisabeth Foster Nietzsche, she was a bit crazy, but she wrote some letters, and one letter was to Edward Munch. You know this famous painter. Oh, you may know this famous painter. And I just marked the persons in this letter. And this is like, if I want to just show, okay, it's not just some person, it's a certain person, I have to gonna reference it to norm data. And therefore we have like this, our national library, the Deutsche Nationalbibliothek, they have this name collection, and they have like, okay, this is this Elisabeth Foster Nietzsche, this red part, and here's a link to her, to the norm data in the National Library catalog. So what can I do with this data? I also can say, okay, I have this norm data, and this norm data is connected with other norm data. So Elisabeth Foster Nietzsche, and we have like the affiliation with the Nietzsche archive, and she also is a writer, Schriftstellerin, the German word, and we have some family relations, like with her brother is Friedrich Nietzsche, and also her parents are Franziska Nietzsche and Karl Ludwig, and she had a husband and so on. So it's yes, her partner is Bernhard Foster Nietzsche. He is crazy as well. But therefore, if you have like this known data, you can put it in linked open data, and you can point to other data and say, okay, which kind of relation do these two elements have, and then you can explore more about this data. I think some of you have already started like doing some distant reading and topic modeling. If you are new to this I recommend the book Distant Reading by Franco Moratti. He was like the inventor of this term distant reading. And it's just an approach from digital literary studies in which computational methods are applied to large amounts of text data without the text themselves being read. And there's also a project, Draco. They have like a huge collection of dramas. And if you just say, okay, I'm going to see Lessing, Gotthold Ephraim Lessing, and she wrote the piece Der Freigeist, and you can see, okay, they have like the network of this play. They also have the relations of those actors and also the speech distribution. They analyzed like over 30,000 texts or dramas from all over the world, and you also can have like the full text if you want to use it for your own projects. So from other fields, maybe some of you are interested in archaeology. There's a really good article about advances in digital pottery analysis, and it like this digital pottery, well, this pottery analysis, they always have three steps. They have this orange part, documentation. You want to know everything about like this vessel, okay, the axis estimation, the profile extraction. You want to calculate the capacity, like then you can learn about measurements in some regions, and like you have another region, they have the same measurements, they have the same types of vessels, and then you can see, okay, maybe there was a trade between those two regions. And also you have like another part, if you are interested by the surface of this vessel, you have to unwrap the surface, or you have to have like some kind of pattern segmentation. So the green part is like you collect all this data, and then you want to build a classification. Okay, those types of vessels are in this shape, this is that shape, this is that shape, or you want to say, okay, my classification is based on the surface pattern, and then you can build a database for better retrieval, that you have input data, like you have some, maybe you don't have a full vessel, you have just parts of the vessel, you put it in, and then you get, okay, in this classification, there are similar vessels from another region, and then you can do your research. Therefore, you have like this, to get better results, you have this 3D input, you have to have an alignment, and also some of parts are missing, so you can add a sketch, and then you can have like this retrieval results. In the publications about like this topic, like there are many. They started always with this documentation. So they said, okay, we are not using index cards.
Swante, excuse me.
Act code.
Sorry. I guess we have a question from one of our participants. I want you to please address it before we move far from the topic.
Is it?
Okay, yes.
Can we have the English translation of the letter? Oh yes, if you're interested in this letter, it's just a really common letter. Dear Mr. Thanks for your letter. I was invited by Wedel, and I wanted to ask you if you want to paint the countess of Wedel, and yes, they are just talking about, okay, I'm gonna see like a family, and they asked me if I could ask you if you are painting like the daughters of the family. It's not a really interesting letter, because Edvard Munch never painted those sisters, so we don't have like really a painting where we can point to and say, okay, this is the first letter where it all started. I'm sorry, it's not the interesting part.
Yeah, I actually, the only word that I understood from this letter was actually the name, then the word hair. Yeah, I don't yes, but it was actually interesting. But my question was something else from the OCR and HCR. If you could, yeah, go to the slide. Yeah.
Yes.
go back, please. Yep. And yep. Yes, that actually passed it. Okay. So I've got a question. Can we just like do like some comparative work with it and do forensic work with this uh, method or approach?
Ah, um, this is a really good question. I have a colleague. I have a colleague. She was part of a project, and you have to see that this handwriting recognition has always, if you're getting the algorithm and you're getting better and better, you have a dual use. You can use it for other things as well, and some of them are useful if you just, I don't know the English word, I'm just not the if you have like a thread written on a letter, and then you can see, okay, which person was the author of this thread. Maybe it's useful, but it's more useful if you can't read the letter that it's detecting. But it's for forensic search, it's not that useful.
Forensic, but not that. It is not because with the code you actually showed us, put anything like more specific. It got like a suicide note, and we want to see it like more clearly. And if it's like ancient, we've got an ancient suicide note
Yes.
on like years or years ago.
Mhm. I don't know if this tool really fits. Maybe you have to search for another tool, but I'm gonna keep this question in mind, and if I have a better answer, I'm gonna mail it. Okay?
Got a fail. Thank you very much.
And I wanted to address a challenge, let's say, an issue that plagues and is common among every digital humanities like projects conducted for Persian language and Farsi, is that there is a lack of, let's say, a coherent working OCR. I mean, it's very difficult to find the characters of Farsi language. And I'm sure it's the same for like one of the challenges that you mentioned, like less represented languages, such as, and especially right to left ones, such as Farsi, like Hebrew, and also Arabic. These languages, like not only you have like very new data on them, but also like it's like the face of the new alignments from right to left, and also other things such as like shape poems, like shape literature written in different shapes that they are very hard to, let's say, as you said, name entity recognition and also character and also the layout. Like they have different layouts across different, let's say, even pages. Like one page has a layout, next page has a different layout. As sort of like these, especially in historical ones, where they have paintings and also like calligraphy, manuscripting thing. Like how can like, let's say, scholars from this domain who are coming from less represented languages like surmount or like get around such problems? Do you have any, let's say, suggestions or ways to look at it?
Okay. I'm just gonna step forward to another project because it just fits in with your question or your remark about like, okay, we don't have the data from other languages or other project, but there are some projects, and I just have like this scribes of the Cairo Geniza. Maybe you've heard of this project, and there you can participate. You can transcribe, like perhaps if you're familiar with reading Hebrew or you're familiar with reading Arabic script fragment, you can contribute to this project, and you can build like you can help to build a better data corpus for other languages and other script systems. So if you just have like, I'm really sorry because I can't read this text, and then you can, the citizen science project, so everyone who is able to read this can participate and start transcribing this part of a fragment of a text, because those were like those texts are really old. I think a few thousand years old, and they were found on an attic in Egypt, in Cairo, and they are asking everyone around the world to help them to transcribe these letters. And maybe if you have like the results, we could train a model in Transkribus to elaborate on this topic. And also your remark about this. Okay, we have one page which would have this layout, and then they are changing the layout, and then they are adding images within the text, and then you get like gibberish because the model is not really trying to see, okay, this is an image, I can't read this. Some of them are guessing, while guessing, which just confusing, and you have to like say, okay, don't please your text machine, please don't read images. And but we have like good models to detect like these images, or also if you have always the page number, they are reading the page number, and you want to see, okay, we want to analyze something about data in your text about counts and numbers, and they are always adding the page number. It's not really useful for you if they always have this page number, or if they also will have like the title of the chapter on every page, and it's detected on every page, and then you have a word frequency, and you say, okay, those words from the title are really common in that text, which is really normal, but if you're detecting it on every page, on every top, it's not really useful. So you really have to train your data, and you have to have a critical point of view, analyzing first results, and just do some more iterations and some more iterations, and have the community to build better text bases for other languages as well. Yeah. So
For like introducing this website and also this project, because it can be replicated, let's say for Farsi, although Farsi and Arabic and
yeah,
Hebrew they have common ancestors, historically speaking, but you know they have like metamorphosized to different shapes, and it needs its own, let's say, project itself. Thank you for introducing such topic.
yeah.
Right.
Okay, we're gonna continue. And I have a project from art history. Maybe some of you are interested in that, and it's about similarity search in images. And I have like two ways. First way is, okay, I'm gonna a person, like a human being, is describing what is seen, like converting image to text, and using a classification. It's called icon class, and it has see it like here. It's like, okay, we have we can see, okay, we have a painting, and it's showing it's showing Jonah, or I don't know, in the Quran it's Yulu, who was like a few days in a whale or in a fish, and he comes out of the fish. So you have like this painting or this printing, and there's the image, and a human being classifies, okay, this is this scene after 3-day sojourn in the belly of the monster. Jonah is cast on dry land. Jonah may be shown nude and bald-headed, which is just 71V22. And if we have like a whole collection which is classified with this, we can search for similarity. We have a really context-based similarity search, but the problem is someone has really to detect, or has to see, a human being has to detect all these images. Maybe it could be an assisting system, but it's not really, it's really time consuming. And also, if you don't have, there's the most frequent topics of images in European collections. So I think the most parts are like scenes from the Bible. So if you don't have an image with scenes from the Bible, this icon classification may be not really useful. But you have like a really good high quality data because a human being detected all topics within a painting or within an image and is filling a database. And this approach is like origin from the 80s, from the 1980s in the Netherlands. And you also can see, okay, it comes from the world of index cards and punch cards, but it's also used nowadays, like in the Rijksmuseum Amsterdam. They are detecting those topics in images. You could also say, okay, this is not useful because it's really time consuming. Okay, we can say we want to have similarity searches in edges without any context. So there's no metadata created by a human being. We want to detect those edges, and an edge is caused by like a depth discontinuity or surface orientation, or you have like some reflection, or you have some illumination, and then you're detecting the edges, and you're gonna build like a search system which is only based on the edges, not on topics which are classified by a human being. Therefore, okay, we have the result. Some of us built this in the Bayerische Staatsbibliothek. So you have like this image. It's like a plant. It's maybe it's some kind of wedge, and then you see, okay, similar pictures. And yeah, okay, this is similar. I can agree to that. And then you have like a fish because it just have the edges have the same form, or you have parts of a bone as a similar in a similarity search because it's not context based. It's just edges. Modern solutions, they combine those. They say, okay, we're gonna have like context, maybe text, which is near this picture. This is mostly the picture is there, and it's in the text something is like a description, or it's there's a context in the text, or we have metadata because because there is like text within the image, and if you combine it with an edge-based search, then you have better results than like, okay, it has a plant and the fish has the same form and so forth. It's a similar picture. It's not really useful. So you have to combine those approaches to have really good results. Like in similarity search, if you use user in Google, it gives you the opportunity to add context, and it also tries to read the metadata of the input image, and therefore you have better results. Also, there are some limitations. If you see the first picture, everyone has seen that this is an elephant. It's clearly an elephant of a person who has never seen an elephant. And if you see, okay, I want to, if you have to define what is similarity for my approach, because maybe like the hoofs of this elephant, they are really like, I don't know if it's a goat or something else. So you have to, if you have a similarity search, just topics within this, which are edge-based, you're going to have like results with goats and other animals with same hoofs. But I don't think that the machine detects, okay, this must be an elephant because it has some kind of flower in this space. And also for the second example, like a Jackson Pollock, you can do a similarity search, but without any context, it's not really helpful. And also without any context, you can't distinguish between Pablo Picasso and some Stone Age painting, because yes, there are similarities, because Pablo Picasso said, I want to paint naive like an infant, and he reflects on certain images from the Stone Age, but those are not. You can't say, okay, those are similar pictures, and then the conclusion is it's the same painter, or it's from the same period of time. So there in the similarity search in images, we have limitations. Also from the museology, I don't know if you are interested in that field, or we have like this this catalog of so gonna have to yeah, we have this catalog, and you can put in some data. I'm good. And I'm searching for like, I just put in some notes, and then you have results. I put it just a few musical notes. I just typed in my keyboard. I use it as a piano, and it was like the beginning of Der Mond ist aufgegangen. Maybe you've heard of this part. So it just compares, okay, it goes high, it goes down, it goes high, it goes down. Just this similarity search in musical notes. What do we need to offer this search option in this catalog? We have to have like for every musical input, we have like to have like a machine readable form. So for music, for text-based, I said, okay, we could use like TI XML, but for music, we want to have like a machine and human readable form of data, which is processable, which is interoperable. And I think that XML is as a source format for many output formats is quite useful if we want to say, okay, we want to have a musical edition. What should the digital scholar edition look like that edits musical works and rather than text? So we have to put it in XML, like those just two notes, like an A and a C. You have to write it down in XML. If you are familiar with XML, you're like able to read musical notes, then it's really easy for you to see, okay, this the first one is an F, the second one is a C. They have a certain duration, and then you can write it in XML. If you're really talented in this, then you can write with XML. You can write like with this handwritten text in the upper part. You can write it down in XML, and you can print a version of this, maybe of this sheet of music. So if you want to explore more about musical digital scholarly editions, you have to use MEI XML, and then you can like write those notes in XML. I already showed you the scratch of the of Cairo, and also we have like this huge citizen science project to save Ukrainian cultural heritage online, and maybe you are interested in that. It's a worldwide organization, and we are collecting digital cultural heritage. We are putting it on servers here in Central Europe, and also we are sending like scanners to the Ukraine to digitize their collections within the war. And yes, that's a huge project. Maybe you're interested in that. And this is the part like digital humanities and citizen science. I also found a quite interesting paper of citizen science and its challenges in Iran. Maybe you're interested in that. It's open source, or you have already read it. And also of the Patenos project, it was quite a good project, and they have good project reports about digital humanities and citizen science. So I'm gonna stop the sharing. Are there any more questions? So far.
Okay, so is there anyone who has any questions as a Q&A part at the end of the lecture? It doesn't seem so. What about, I asked, yes, Ms. Harry has asked, and Mr. Rahnama, oh, yes, he had a comment on, I guess, that picture, like Middle Ages picture of that elephant and that sort of mule, and he said that the trunk itself could be a sufficient significant for the engine to recognize it as trunk, not like it could be detected as an edge rather than, let's say, an entity. It can have its own entity. Like how can this model is trained to detect it as an elephant?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, you have to define significant properties of your images. Like you have to see if you're interested in elephant images, you have to first you have to define. You have to have some kind of knowledge about elephant paintings, and then you have to see, okay, the significant property for a European craftsman who has never seen an elephant. The most significant property would be like the trunk or something else, or like the tooth. But you have to
Tusks, yeah.
you have to define it first, and then you can use it to search for this data. But you have first you have you have to define what is an elephant to search for this significant property.
So as a train and test data, as a training test, we should have sufficient amount of elephant images so that our engine knows what is an elephant, so that it can, in the training, in the result data, we can find it. Okay, great. So it seems that we don't have any questions. I guess that's it. Thank you, Swante, for accepting our invitation. I'm very honored and glad to have you here. And yes, okay. So let's call it a day and goodbye to. I want to say goodbye to our participants and also you. Thank you for attending this session. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you for the invitation.
You too, Swante. It was an honor. Thank you.
Okay. See you.
Bye. Take care. اوکی مرسی از همه عزیزانی که تشریف آوردن. انشاءالله در جلسات آینده به موضوعات دیگه خواهیم پرداخت و لینک ضبط شده این جلسه هم توی چنل قرار میگیره. دیگه مرسی که ممنونم که تشریف آوردید. Thank you all. And also please لطفاً به چنل ما در تلگرام و اینستاگرام با آدرس DHC_شیرازو حتما سابسکرایب کنید، این داشته باشیدش، فالو کنید، جوین شید که بتونید از اخبار و آپدیت ها با خبر باشید. Thank you. ممنونم. خدا نگهدار. روز بخیر. Thank you, Mandana. Thank you, Hassan. Thank you, Reza. Thank you, Saba. Thank you, Dr. Saidi. ممنون از همین.